Dr. Martel. Mr. Kluger. Commandant sends his compliments. He thought you might care to call on him before you go home.
Why?
Cattle truck from Paris? Not quite the blue train, is it?
$179 days. Oh, Philip.
I've had the civil police round to see me. The secretary of the controlling committee has been on the telephone about it. And the girl's father says he's writing to the papers.
Well, we can stop that.
Oh, I know we can stop that. It's embarrassing and humiliating that we should have to do so. On the moral level, the Gestapo have made a mockery of our claim to scrupulous government. And on the practical level, they've made it more difficult for us to deal with the islanders.
That's overstating it a bit, surely.
You wouldn't think so if you were sitting in my chair. I shall take it up with Army Group.
It'll do no good, Friedel. The Gestapo will simply say that in the interests of security, they were obliged to pursue an independent line.
Independent line. A fine equivocation.
Don't do it even so. At least don't you do it.
You?
Dog does not eat dog.
That's quite funny, coming from a man with no sense of humor.
You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. Who, then?
Muller. Let Muller do the dirty work.
You think he would?
If pushed. I suggest you get Richter to do the pushing. Now, a word of apology from the Herr General to the girl's father would not be out of order, gracious even.
It would certainly help me.
One other thing, Friedel. The truth about Hauptmann Anders must be got at.
But we know. Anders says he told her nothing, absolutely nothing.
No.
And the girl, after 2 nights in a cell, says he told her nothing.
You misunderstand me. The question of whether he passed on the information to this girl is one thing. His relationship with her is another.
Relationship?
Look, if you're going to engineer the Herr General into complaining about the Gestapo, as well as apologizing to the girl's father, you had better be certain you know all the facts first. All the facts, Mayo.
Come in.
For Mayor Friedel, Herr Oberst.
Do you want me to sign for it?
Yes, please, sir.
Dr. Anders, our staff. When did Major Friedel ask for this?
Late yesterday, Herr Oberst.
I see. Right. Thank you. I'll see you get it.
Sir? Will you wait here, please, Dr. Martel?
Come in.
Is here, Herr Oberst?
What?
Dr. Martel, the morning boat from Saint-Malo.
Yes, of course. Show him in. Oh, Otto.
Sir.
How does he seem?
As they all seem when they first come out. But it will pass.
Why? What is it?
unreality, detachment, pallor of the spirit. And also, he stinks.
Right, Truman.
Dr. Martel.
Good morning, Doctor. Thank you, Oberleutnant.
Morning, Major.
Please. Won't you sit down?
Why am I here?
Will you have some coffee with me?
No.
You don't mind if I do?
You expect me to say yes?
No, but if it's to be an issue, we'll leave it. Please, Doctor, do sit down.
I want to go home.
You'll be taken there presently.
They promoted you?
Yes, Oberst, Colonel.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
On earth should you think I should want to see you before I went home?
Your wife does not know you're coming.
I didn't know myself until last night.
I have known for a week.
So?
I thought that a man who had been away for, how long is it?
179 days.
I thought that a bath might not be unwelcome.
A bath! Oh, the rich irony of that. Sentence served, debt paid, received back into respectable society without a backward glance. 6 months of hell sluiced down the plug hole with the soapy water. Tell me, Major, Colonel, sir, you have some bath salts, too, to help rid me of my pungent bacteria? Will what I have seen and heard and felt be flushed away, too? Tell me, will it? Sorry.
Are you all right? Are you ill?
I will have some coffee. I'm not ill.
It will take some getting used to. Being back.
Yes.
Do you have milk?
No.
Sugar?
Yes.
Have you seen your friend, Mr. Porteous?
Oh, yes, several times. When emptying our sanitary buckets. The first time, I said, "Hello, Peter, how are you?" So they stopped our soup for 3 days. As there wasn't much else, one didn't incur the risk again very lightly. But he survived. What else can one do? Some don't, mind you. Some don't. Oh, well, one can get used to anything. Well, we've had to, haven't we, really, over the 1,000,000 or so years it's taken us to get this far. Wherever that is. Lack of food. The cold. Oh, God, the cold. Fear.
Fear.
Yes, fear.
Fear of what?
Have you been to such places? Of course you haven't.
Deprivation, yes, that is the nature and purpose of such places. Fear. I don't understand.
Colonel, when the key turns in the lock of your cell, you are afraid. Afraid because it might not be a bowl of ersatz coffee or a piece of hard black bread or your sanitary bucket to empty. But something else. Every week for some it is something else. A visit to the room in the basement where they ask questions. Or to the execution yard.
It can't have been the case for you.
Why not? Tell me why not?
Because you're not that kind of person.
Oh, we've got to. When I first stepped onto occupied France 6 months ago, I didn't know then. You still don't know, do you? But I know now.
Doctor, where is this leading us?
Now, you asked me a question, or at least you raised a question. It's important to answer it, at least for me it is.
Very well.
Now, the German presence here on Guernsey has been a reasonable one, wouldn't you say?
I hope so. I have tried to make it so.
Yeah, and on the whole, the islanders have been equally reasonable.
Aye.
In fact, apart from a few shortages and the uniforms, restricted areas, you'd scarcely know there was a war on.
Scarcely.
No, we don't much like your being here, but by and large, you've been fair, even civilized. There is a mutual, if grudging, respect. Would you agree?
Yes.
Well, you're an academic, aren't you? In peacetime, you lived in England.
In Cambridge, yes?
Trumpington Street, yes. You told my wife.
That's right.
Perhaps you like the English. Is that what you meant? When you said for me the beatings, the shooting, the tortures would not apply.
I think I've heard enough, Doctor.
Because living here, you'd be forgiven for not knowing. Whereas in Cherche-Midi prison, there are actually Jews and French and Belgians and other lesser races without the law. And they know. They know.
Dr. Martel, it's nice to see you again.
See what I mean? Hello, Major. Oh, I'm sorry. Have they promoted you too?
No, I fear not.
I'll find an orderly to show you to the ablutions room.
I'd prefer to go home, Stinky.
Why? Let them see how you've been treated.
I'd feel less of a Judas that way.
And you intend to stay that way? Carrying your smell about with you like a badge?
Your badge! Your badge!
I'll see that you're driven home.
I don't want your bloody favors! Too many favors, too much civility, it becomes servility. My daughter Claire was right. War is war, and we've forgotten we're combatants in it. But those poor bastards out there in Cherche-Midi and all the other hellholes you people use to assert your will, they don't forget. When they spit out their teeth on the basement floor, they'll stand with their backs to the execution yard wall. War is war, Colonel. It should not masquerade as something else.
Doctor, man makes the best of his circumstances. To do otherwise is perverse. It's capricious. It's unreasonable. You spoke just now of your daughter. I have something to say concerning her, but first let me tell you of something that she said to me on that very day that you were last in this place, 179 days ago. She said, in effect, what you were saying. War must be continued, even if only in the mind. You cannot win if you do not fight. I said you cannot fight if you do not survive. Whatever may be the abuse of man, that is the use of nature. First survive. You said of Mr. Porteous, he survives. Oh, you're right. We get used to anything because we've had to over 1 million years and more. Evolution is an obstacle race. Need I tell a doctor that? And we are here to testify to our adaptability.
Survival of the fittest. The law of the jungle. Well, Adolf Hitler has certainly given us that.
Whereas all I can offer you is a hot bath.
With bath salts.
I think not. You would not be betraying anything or anybody.
Very well. I accept.
Send us something here.
You said you had something to say concerning my daughter.
Yes. It is not for me to interfere in family matters, but I feel that I should tell you that your daughter has not been well.
She's all right?
She's not well. Dr. Forbes has been looking after your practice. She has been in his care. I think she has felt the strain of your absence very keenly.
What is it? What's been the matter?
She was found in the sea. I believe she's making progress, but she and your wife will need your help. It will be a difficult adjustment. It will need a show of morale. Come in. Schmidt, will you escort the head doctor to the washroom, providing the soap, towel, razor, see that his shoes are cleaned when he's ready here to be driven home?
Yes, Herr Oberst.
Oh, I shall walk home.
Would you prefer to?
Yes, I would prefer to.
Your suitcase can be delivered.
I must carry that home. I carried it from my cell. I must carry it home.
As you wish.
The adjustment will not be easy for him.
No. I would not expect it to be. Oh, this came for you. Right on, Anders.
Oh, yes. I need to talk to you about that.
Can't ask the Commander-in-Chief to apologize.
It would be better coming from him.
I fail to see why.
Well, coming from him, the overall view, noblesse oblige, preservation of amicable relations with the islanders, that sort of thing.
Noblesse oblige, indeed. What you mean is he carries more weight. Oh, why did the good Lord have to send me Franz Otto Anders?
He's a very good, conscientious officer.
Right now, what he is a bloody nuisance.
And that's just what General Miller will think of me. All right, then, I'll put it to him.
Thank you, Commandant.
You won't agree, of course.
Oh, I'm sure he will. If you ask him nicely.
Yes, well, that'll cost you a schnapps, Ernst, which I shall have the pleasure of taking from you very shortly.
Small price to pay to mollify the residents.
Well, we'll see. Now, what is the latest position? Come in.
The tray, Herr Oberst.
What? Oh, no. Come back later.
Good, Herr Oberst.
What is the present situation concerning Anders?
In view of the Gestapo report, Herr Oberst, I'm obliged to ask for his suspension from duty.
Is that absolutely necessary?
I think it is, Herr Oberst.
Seems a pity. All right, send me a note to Manfjord.
I have, Herr Oberst. It's in the internal mail.
Oh, you haven't wasted much time, have you?
Well, there is a prima facie case against him.
But is there? I thought the girl, what's her name?
Marguerite Lepelle.
I thought she'd consistently denied that Anders gave her any information whatever.
Well, that is so, Herr Oberst. Nevertheless, there is presumptive evidence against him.
What presumptive evidence?
The girl was in possession of the information. Anders was the only German she knew.
And yet, despite being kept for 2 days and nights in a prison cell, totally alone, and under repeated Gestapo questioning, she still denies the man told her anything.
Do you know him, Otto?
Yes, I met him once or twice in the mess.
Well, what's your view of him? Speaking in your capacity of working psychologist.
Well, he seems to be a decent, honest sort of chap. But then, speaking as a working psychologist, I must say that we all are, until given the means, motive, and opportunity to be otherwise.
Your years in the Hamburg police force have soured you, Otto.
Seasoned rather than soured, I would say, sir.
Well, then, General Mueller will want to know the facts. We better have a brief prepared of our own. Can you do that, Ranniker?
Anders has been very uncooperative with the Gestapo. He's unlikely to tell me more.
What about Kluger?
Oh, it's a question of rank. He's a Hauptmann.
If he doesn't object, would you?
No, why should I?
All right, then, I'll have him in. Thank you, gentlemen, that's all. Oh, Otto.
Sir?
You'll need his papers.
Ah, yes. He won't object.
I must try and make sure he doesn't, mustn't I?
You know, this is without doubt one of the single most happy days of my life.
Oh, Philip.
I mean, it's quite nice seeing you again, Olga. But a poached egg? What Luke Cullen delight.
12 and 6 it ought to be. And we've got something special for dinner tonight.
Something special for dinner. Oh, what magical words.
Well, not that special.
You know, this is good.
Yes, I know. Helen's coming over this afternoon.
Yeah?
I could ring and tell her no.
No, I'd see her.
Is there anything about Peter that...
No, I was hardly able to see Peter at all.
Oh, dear. It's extraordinary, you know. She rang me this morning to ask if I'd heard anything. Not a word, I said, little supposing. Every morning after breakfast, I'd cross off the previous day. It was nice doing that. I'd save it up. I wouldn't think that the day was ticking by minute. I would save it all up, so that the whole 24 hours would whiz by at one stroke. Now I don't have to do that. I shall feel what? A sense of ingratitude.
To the calendar?
Silly, isn't it? It's been a kind of mute, conspiring friend. Now I don't need it. I'm abandoning it.
Olive, you are a great chump.
Am I?
Yes. Lovely, though. It's not really the 24th today, is it?
No, but it is Wednesday. Calendar's 2 years out of date.
Oh, thank God for that. You had me worried.
Why?
Well, I'd scratch my calendar on the window recess, so the guard wouldn't see it. And I had worked it out to be Wednesday the 22nd, so when I saw the 24th, I thought I had lost 2 days.
But surely you would know the number of days by when it was dark and when it was night.
I didn't always notice. This is splendid. Now, tell me about Claire.
Will she? I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
And as you have been the source of considerable embarrassment to the military administration.
I have done nothing wrong.
The Geheime Staatspolizei are convinced of that.
I am a responsible member of the armed forces. The Gestapo have no business with me, Herr Oberst.
Hauptmann, the Gestapo, if they feel they have reason, will find a way of having business with anyone. Have absolutely no doubt of that.
But I am a soldier, not a civilian.
A civilian is involved. Well, for reasons of military propriety, the Gestapo is dressing up its interest in other clothes, in this case the Waffen SS, which is why I have received this from Sturmbannführer Reiniger.
suspended from duty.
Pending further inquiries.
I trust you will ignore it, Herr Oberst.
I certainly cannot ignore it. I'm suspending you with immediate effect.
Then I'm to be treated as a common criminal.
A little meekness would not injure your cause. Had you been more cooperative with the Gestapo, we might not have come to this.
I resent their filthy innuendos.
Well, Anders, there it is. You made enemies of the Gestapo. You put the Commander-in-Chief at a disadvantage. That is why I'm suspending you. Until you're in the clear, you're no good to either me or yourself. You're compromised, do you understand?
Then what is my best course, Herr Oberst?
I think you should have a talk with Oberleutnant Kluge. Tell him the truth. Answer all his questions. If we can show that we have our own house in perfect order, we can turn away the wrath of others.
It's degrading. It's humiliating.
Anders, I don't understand you. If you have behaved properly, where is the harm in answering a few questions? If only to put the record straight. Oh, come on, let's have done with this once and for all, yes or no?
Very well.
Dreamy?
Yes.
Nice one, I hope.
Well, whatever it is, it's gone now. It was nothing to do with Sheshmidi or anything like that. What time did you say Helen was going to be here?
Oh, mid-afternoon, I expect.
Well, I should be back by then. Isn't there anything I could, some apples or something like that?
No, they won't keep over winter.
What about some spring flowers?
Philip, she won't.
Let me.
It's no good, Doctor.
There cannot be.
I'm sorry.
But I mean, she is my daughter. I've just got back. I've been away for 6 months. What reason can there possibly be?
You mustn't blame yourself.
I don't blame myself. Damn it, I would just like to know.
Won't you please sit down?
I cannot explain to you her reasons. I don't know them. Perhaps she doesn't know them.
But she can't be left in this situation without help. Surely you can see that.
I can see how it must seem to you. But here she's not without help. Here everyone needs help, and everyone gives help. That's why Dr. Forbes brought her to us.
You a trained psychiatrist?
You know the answer to that.
Yes, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be rude.
You weren't. Please sit down. Claire needs to feel needed. Here we can give her much to do for others.
Saved by good works, eh, Mother?
Saved by grace. But good works certainly help.
We're not Catholics.
But she's a Christian. And even if she weren't, we'd still be able to offer her the privilege of service to others. As soon as she feels able to see you, She will. But to press her at present. Because I do realize how hard it must be for you and your wife. But it's a measure of her distress that she must know that too, and yet not feel able to come home to you.
I've been waiting for very nearly half an hour.
My apologies, Hauptmann. Please, sit down.
This is a most time-wasting business.
Forgive me, Hauptmann. I understood that you had been suspended from duties.
That doesn't mean I have no other demands upon my time.
In that case, we better get on with it without further delay. Tell me all about it, Hauptmann.
Tell you all about what, Oberleutnant?
This whole unfortunate business.
Unfortunate for whom?
The girl, certainly.
I am totally innocent, Kluger.
Not according to the Gestapo.
You believe that rabble?
I would like to have reasons not to do so.
A man is innocent till proved guilty, Oberleutnant.
Not to me, he's not. That is all twaddle for constitutional lawyers. I'm a policeman. To me, it's the other way around.
That's the most appallingly cynical statement.
Wrong, Hauptmann. I have no time for cynicism. It is a cheap pose which gets in the way of truth. Now, if you'd said skepticism, I might have agreed with you. I have a professional inclination towards incredulity.
If you start out like that, there's no point to this at all.
Wrong again, Hauptmann. I am as prepared to question the findings of the Gestapo as I am prepared to question your very natural assumption of your own innocence.
I did not tell the girl anything at any time about troop movements. The girl said so herself. That is the end of the matter.
No, Hauptmann. It is just the beginning. And at no time did I discuss military matters with either of the two girls. Good. If I might just have your signature, Hauptmann. There.
You mean it isn't the whole truth and nothing but the truth till I've signed it?
Oh, your signing it does not certify that it is the truth, merely that I've got it down right, that it is a faithful report of what you said took place.
I find your manner offensive.
Sign it.
I presume it is now in order for me to leave, Oberleutnant?
It is not in order for you to leave. I will tell you when you may go. Frankly, I'm not satisfied with your explanation.
This is intolerable.
Hauptmann, I've seen the statement of the girl Jennifer Wright. She does not say that her friend thought that the troops were being sent to Russia, but that she knew. She said, I know where they're being sent. They're being sent to Russia.
How many times do I have to keep saying the same thing? For God's sake, the girl hazarded a guess. Or some soldier may have told her.
The soldiers didn't bloody well know where they were going. As a matter of pure routine security, only the unit commander and your office knew. Now, these two girls don't mention the unit commander or anybody else. Only you.
Why should I tell them?
Yes, I've been wondering that. Perhaps you'd be good enough to tell me what was your relationship with this Marguerite Le Palais.
A relationship?
Yes, I take it you did have one.
You're suggesting.
Oh, come on, Anders. You're not a kid wet behind the ears. You're 37 years of age, healthy, far from home. Oh, come on. Tell me what you've been up to with her.
I shall complain to the Commandant.
Do as you like.
If you go out of that door, you've had it.
You are the dog who has rolled in it. Now, don't expect anyone else to touch you. I've been told to get the truth out of you, and by God, that is what I'm going to have. Now, sit down. That's better. Now tell me about you and this girl. Very well. We'll do it the other way. I will start drilling, and you tell me when it begins to hurt. In November, you were billeted at the Bigard. You made the acquaintance of these two girls. They showed some interest in your horse, and occasionally you allowed them to ride it. One of the two, Marguerite Le Pellet, was, a little more adventurous. You started to favor her. I have the personal details here the Gestapo took. Eh? Height, 5'3", bust, 34, complexion, fresh, hair, blonde, eyes, blue. I wouldn't blame you, Anders. Maybe I'd have done the same thing myself. Eh? But she didn't tell you she was only 15, eh? No, they never do. I expect she made the first move, eh? Led you on a bit, did she?
God, you dirty, mighty bastard, Kluger.
Let you touch her up, did she? Well, did she? No. I'll tell you what I'm going to do, Anders. I'm going to give you a chance. A chance to save these girls some more unpleasantness. You're going to have till 1600 hours, Anders. Otherwise, I'm going to pull them in again. You have 1 hour, Anders. You may go.
Sorry to keep you, Richter. One or two problems with divisional staff.
Really, sir?
Now, what's this problem that's worrying Friedel? Hmm?
It concerns 2 young girls and the Gestapo, sir.
Beauty and the Beast, eh?
An apt comment, sir, when you hear what I have to say.
I see. Well, you'd better sit down and tell me about it.
2 girls come from respectable Guernsey families. They're both 15 years old. And like many young girls of that age, mad about horses. Inevitably, they've sought out the mounted units near where they live and volunteered to help to muck out the chance of a ride. Now, a few months ago...
Asking for trouble.
Yes, I suppose it's a tribute to their innocence so that I haven't actually found it.
Or naivete.
Yes. A few months ago, Hauptmann Anders, our staff transport officer, and a very keen horseman himself...
Anders, he has a damn fine Arab stallion, hasn't he?
Indeed he has, sir. He was quartered out at Le Bigard. The girls used to see him out exercising the horse and eventually got to know him, so much by way of background, as it were. And now we come to last Saturday. Every weekend, the girls come into St. Peter Port to walk about, see if there's anything in the shops, and they always rendezvous at Strubant's Cafe, which is what they did last Saturday. It appears that one of the girls, Jennifer Wright, mentioned quite casually that all the troops and their guns quartered round Le Bourg and La Villette seemed to have disappeared overnight. The other girl, Marguerite Le Pellet, said that she knew where they had gone.
She knew?
She said they had been sent to Russia.
Which, of course, they have. 4 batteries of field artillery.
Yes, sir. Unfortunately, the cafe is also frequented by the Gestapo, hoping to pick up information from the harmless gossip of the islanders. And, of course, the 2 girls had no way of knowing that the 2 men sharing their table were Gestapo agents. Well, when the men overheard what had been said, they dragged the girls out into the street and then bundled them into a car, drove them away to the Gestapo office. There the girls were separated and put through an interrogation. The first girl, Jennifer Wright, was questioned about what German she knew, and she gave them Anders' name. She was then released and told to keep her mouth shut, otherwise her entire family would be arrested.
Good heavens.
The other girl, Marguerite Lepelle, told the Gestapo that what she had said was nothing more than a wild guess designed to impress her friend. When confronted with Anders' name, she simply denied that he'd ever said anything to her at any time other than to chat about his horse. And she has stuck to that story, despite being locked up the entire weekend and terrified out of her wits by being hauled out at all hours and accused of being a liar.
They really are damnable people.
And naturally, the girl's father alerted the civil police. They got in touch with the Feldkommandant as a matter of course, but Major Friedel was unable to help them. After all, he knew nothing of any of this. Hence his considerable embarrassment when he learned at the beginning of the week, and from the civil police themselves, that the girl had all the time been in German hands.
My God, that is an appalling story.
Yes, I was sure that you would think so, sir.
Quite apart from the inhumanity, it makes us look so bloody silly.
Yes. Unfortunately, the girl's parents have been pressing the civil administration to make a big issue of the whole thing, and Major Friedel, who has to deal with the civil administration every day, feels that it may undermine good relations unless something is offered by way of an apology.
Well, let the Gestapo do it.
They refuse to, sir.
Why?
They say they were right to do what they did.
I see. That's a fine position to be in, isn't it? And damned if I see why I should pull other people's chestnuts out of the fire just because of some moron in the Gestapo. Is that what this gold braid is for?
I understand exactly how you feel, sir. The only reason I bother you with it is...
Yes, I'm not stupid. I can see the politics of it as well as the next man. They won't. You can't. So I get it. This chap Anders, what's his story?
He confirmed what the girl said. He told her absolutely nothing.
And do the Gestapo accept that?
No, sir.
No.
They're asking for his immediate suspension from duty pending further inquiries.
Damn it, Richter, why didn't you tell me that straight off?
Oh, forgive me, sir, but I thought it irrelevant to the whole question of the apology.
Did you indeed? Well, I want to know the truth of this, understand?
Oh, that is in hand.
I'm very glad to hear it.
Well, then, may I tell Major Friedel that an expression of regret will be forthcoming?
Yes, very well.
Thank you, sir.
Come in, yes. Lieutenant Sally, Hauptmann. Please, sit down.
I prefer to stand.
As you please.
I will tell you the truth.
I will be very pleased to hear it.
Yes, I did tell her.
I don't know when I've been so excited. Do you know, I keep thinking of him still as in prison. Then, of course, I realise he's back here. It's most extraordinary. Is he... Oh, he's very tired. And very thin, of course. Not much chance of fattening him up here, is there?
Will Claire see him?
I really don't know. I'm not sure it would be a good idea if she did. It would be very wounding if she just presented that dreadful blankness to him.
It's only a matter of time. You'll see.
Yes, of course it is. That's really all it is, a matter of time. Time for Philip to recover and Claire to get back to her old self. Or Peter to come home?
Clive back from Germany.
Yes, it's just a matter of time.
It's been a long time, hasn't it? Since our world turned upside down that last Sunday in June. Goodness, it's nearly 2 years, isn't it?
Philip saw Peter several times. He said he looked fit, notwithstanding the fact
Notwithstanding. Yes. Well, everything's going to be all right. Now, how many balls of wool have you managed to wind for my Children's Emergency Bureau? Olive, you've done wonders, haven't I? Philip.
Helen. Hello. Sorry I wasn't here to greet you. I should go away more often. How have you been?
Well, the thought of seeing you and Peter again has buoyed me up.
Yes, he's jolly fit. Sends his love. Can't wait to see you again.
Did you manage to see him often?
Well, yeah, he's written to you, hasn't he?
Yes, one letter in December.
Won't be long now.
No, it won't be long. It's good to see you.
Very, very good to see you.
Some tea, then.
Right, Joe, I'm tired. I'll walk back. Oh, that's welcome, thanks. Mother Superior. I suppose she's a good woman.
Of course she is.
Are you saying, Otto, that after all this you don't believe his confession?
Yes, Sir Orbis. I'm convinced that until the confession he was telling the truth.
Then how did the girl get the information?
Just as she said. A lucky guess. It's not so extraordinary.
The Gestapo think that it is.
Well, I do not.
Well, so you reject his confession as false?
Yes, Sir Orbis. I think he made the admission in order to save the girls, and especially this Marguerite Lepelle, from further interrogation.
It's a remarkably generous thing to do, considering he was throwing his career away.
Well, perhaps there was something that he felt guilty about after all. Well, I speak as a working psychologist.
It wasn't Peter's fault, Helen, any more than it was Claire's. They were both doing what they thought was right. Oh, admittedly, I was an unknowing part of the plan. But I no longer regard it as deceit on their part that they didn't tell me. If they had, I wouldn't have been carrying the photograph of that German destroyer. It proves they were right not to tell me. Well, the plan miscarried, that's all. We've all been punished for it. Not because they did wrong, but because it went wrong. They did what they thought was right. That's what's important. Doing what you think's right. You know, in all those hours I spent on my own in that place, one of the things I tried to do was to remember all the poetry I'd ever read. Of course, the one that kept coming back to me was Richard Lovelace's. Stone walls do not a prison make, nor iron bars a cage. The trouble was I can never remember what came next.
Angels alone.
Exactly. It came to me one day when I wasn't thinking about anything in particular. Angels alone that soar above enjoy such liberty. So I sat and thought about that. Wondered what it meant. The nearest I could get was that if we do our best to do what we think is right, then maybe we can fly there too.